The past, the present, and the future. No, I'm not talking about the ghosts of Christmas that haunt Ebenezer Scrooge, but if I was, I'd be talking about the Muppet version, which is the GOAT of Christmas Carol movies. Don't at me. Hey book readers, today I'm talking about the wonderful world of time travel, a world that makes your dysfunctional family look like beaver cleavers. I'm just saying it deals with the hypothetical results of your past self killing your grandfather or having your mom lust after you. So let's take a look at 10 of my favorite lesser-known time travel books. Eat your heart out, H.G. Wells. The First 15 Lives of Harry August by Claire North. Harry August learns that after he dies, he's born again, but with all of the memories from his previous life. Eventually, he makes contact with someone else like him. Over time, he gets to know the time travelers who live near him and around the same time as him. While there aren't many people with this ability to live their lives over and over again in the book, this story has a unique mechanism for how these time travelers share information down the line, and only a few of them are alive at any one time, so that's really important. But one of Harry August's fellow time-traveling buddies is slowly changing the future, with humanity progressing more and more quickly towards something catastrophic. To stop that from happening, Harry has to play the long game and figure out who's advancing this technology too fast. This book poses some interesting questions about what the lives of time travelers might be like and the difficulties that they'd experience. For instance, how bad would it suck to be a 6-year-old, beholden to your parents and society's expectations, even though you have hundreds of years of experience and knowledge? Perhaps the best part of this book, though, is the mind games it features between time travelers and how, over the course of time, relationships can change slowly or instantly. Up next is Pastwatch, The Redemption of Christopher Columbus by Orson Scott Card. What if you could change history by getting Christopher Columbus to be a halfway decent dude? The infamous Italian explorer takes center stage in this historical sci-fi in which future research scientists are trying to direct past events to change the interactions between Europeans and Native Americans, and ultimately create a global utopia. Quite an in-depth plot. A handful of these research scientists are sent back in time to get the job done, setting off on different missions to help prepare the Native Americans for Columbus's arrival, and to try and figure out the best way to put everyone, explorers and indigenous peoples, on equal footing when Columbus does arrive. Reading this book is like playing a civilization-based video game. You have a picture in your head of what the final goal is, and you're cheering wildly as every step in the right direction succeeds. But on the flip side, you feel anxious if anything starts to go astray. It's an emotional roller coaster. But that's what makes this book so enjoyable. You're rooting for a better history to unfold than what actually happened in our own timeline, and it's kind of a cathartic experience. Next on my list is The Anubis Gates by Tim Powers. The ingredients for this book are a dollop of time travel, a bit of magic, and a pinch of poetry, all set in 19th century London. When Professor Brendan Doyle is offered the chance to travel back in time to witness a lecture by the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he becomes embroiled in a plot involving Egyptian sorcery, a sinister cult, and a time-traveling adversary seeking to alter history. As he navigates this perilous journey through time, he has to unravel mysteries, confront ancient powers, and fight to preserve the course of history itself. If that synopsis isn't enough to get you to read this, then here are 3 more reasons. This 1980s sci-fi features body swapping, Egyptian gods, and super nerdy millionaires. Enough said. The Accidental Time Machine by Joe Haldeman. Life isn't exactly going Matt Fuller's way. Then, whoops-a-daisy, this brilliant but underachieving grad school dropout creates a time machine that's steadily jumping farther and farther ahead in time. This is a short sci-fi book, but a non-stop thrill ride. The premise is simple and the characters are shallow, but if you like time travel tales in a similar vein to The Time Machine, this rip-roaring book overcomes those flaws to provide an entertaining read. How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. While this isn't as beloved as some of Haig's other books, it's actually one of my faves from him. And good news, whether you've already read it or not, there's a 6-part TV series in the works starring Benedict Cumberbatch. Rumor has it that the show will be released in the next year or 2. In the book, Tom Hazard appears to be an ordinary man in his 40s, but in reality, he's hundreds of years old due to a rare condition that slows his aging. as he navigates different eras and bumps into a few famous historical people, he grapples with the challenges of keeping his condition a secret while attempting to somehow live a normal life and maintain his relationships. However, when a secret society discovers his existence, he's faced with a choice between embracing his incredible longevity or risking everything for an ordinary life. How to Stop Time fittingly covers timeless topics like belonging, love, and humanity. There are elements at both ends of the spectrum in this book, from a charming romance to a heart-pounding adventure. Next up is There Will Be Time by Paul Anderson. This book begins with a familiar premise. The main character, Jack, is born with the ability to time travel, and he's searching for others who share his ability. Because everyone needs buddies who share your passions, right? I get it. I mean, that's why there's a subreddit group for real bees fake top hats, for those who want to see real pictures of bees with Photoshop top hats on their heads. But the interesting question Anderson asks in this book is, how would a time traveler find other time travelers? And furthermore, would they all get along and agree with how they should use their abilities? There Will Be Time is a quick read at only 176 pages, but it packs a thought-provoking punch. Well worth a read for fans of classic sci-fi tropes, done in excellent ways. Time and Time Again by Ben Elton. In the present, former soldier Hugh Stanton is given the chance to go back in time to 1914 and stop World War I from happening. It's a one-way ticket, but Stanton's advanced combat skills and lack of personal ties make him the ideal candidate for the mission. So, he's sent to stop Gavrilo Princip from assassinating Archduke Franz Ferdinand, creating a less bloody past and better future. However, when he arrives in the past, Stanton faces some moral issues and unintended consequences of trying to change the past. In essence, he gets up close and personal with that unanswerable question. If you could tweak history, should you? It's a suspenseful page-turner with a couple of wrinkles thrown in as it explores the intricacies of cause and effect. All Are Wrong Today is by Ellen Moste. This is one of those books that I remember exactly where I was when I read it. In the halls of a municipal building, in between portions of a jury selection process. And I kept thinking to myself, it's okay if the judge wants to drag this process out a little bit, because this book is really good and I'd like to finish it. Spoiler alert, I got picked for jury duty. That makes 4 out of 4 times that I have been picked for jury duty. I don't know why that happens, but it's another story entirely. In All Are Wrong Today's, Tom Barron lives in an idyllic, tech-savvy utopian future until a time travel mishap sends him into an alternate reality, the crappy, backwards world we live in. As he struggles to adapt in this less advanced version of Earth, Tom has to decide whether to try and fix the past and restore the future he knew, all the while he's dealing with what progress and true happiness really are. If you want an emotion-driven, parallel universe-hopping love story with great characters and excellent time travel mechanics, you have really specific tastes. And this book is for you. The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov. From the Wayback Machine, here's a sci-fi classic from 1955. Reducing human suffering by way of small changes to reality is how the Eternals affect human history, but it's all at a cost to humanity's technology and art. Enter Andrew Harlan, one of these Eternals who's tasked with making a few of these changes, who's also obsessed with primitive humans, aka us. However, Andrew falls in love with a girl whose time is about to be changed, so he takes her out of her time and hides her somewhere else, thus saving her. This, of course, is not something he's supposed to do, but, well, when it comes to women from the 482nd century, you gotta do what you gotta do. Things get a little complicated from there as he loses his time travel girlfriend and wants to get her back. I won't spoil anything, but suffice it to say, it can get a little difficult to figure out who is when and what their end goals are. However, if you can't totally wrap your head around some of the more complicated parts, the ending makes any confusion worthwhile. And last on my list is Buying Time by Eric Brown. This is a solid, if not spectacular, sci-fi book where the unlikable main character, Ed Ritchie, starts jumping further and further back in his life while retaining his current consciousness. The book alternates between Ritchie's time-traveling adventures and the story of Ella Croft, a journalist in 2030 who's looking into Ritchie's life and his disappearance. If you can overlook the blatant social commentary, it's a light thinker for those who like time travel. There you have it, 10 time travel books that you should definitely read in the near future, which will eventually be the present, and then the past. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Happy reading.